And part of that is because the same-ification of marketing and all of these like copied, like everybody sounds the same.
We've got past that phase of trying to build and automate what our old marketing systems look like. And instead we're trying to be like, okay, this is what makes my company unique, or this is what makes me a unique marketer. Now, how do I build something that's specific to myself? So like, you just need to adjust the prompt. And like, I've adjusted thousands of prompts and it never gets to a point where I'm like, yep, this is exactly it.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Swift Start Go, the only show where we talk about AI, creativity, and the future of work. I am your host, Carolyn Swift Holden, and we have a very exciting guest for you. His name is Matt Osborne. Matt Osborne is the founder of Skail, a startup that helps brands and their people communicate authentically at scale in the B2B marketing and sales space. He spent the last several years leading growth at SaaS and fintech companies, and this actually includes a startup called Credit Key, which was a portfolio company of one of my old employers back in New York called Loeb NYC. So yes, it's true. Matt, we were almost coworkers.
I wish we would have been. It would have been a way better time.
I think we literally missed each other by like maybe 3 months.
That's unfortunate.
I know.
I did always get your text messages about the Loeb office, so I still got those, and I'm so sorry I wasn't over there because it looked way more fun than where I was.
Matt has been a part of major rebrands and acquisitions, and now he's building tools that let employees tell their stories with AI in a way that feels human. So excited to have you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm so excited to kind of have a discussion with you. AI is playing a massive role in all of the world, especially in marketing as well. So
diving right in. The reason I wanted to bring you onto the show today is because a couple of weeks ago, I saw a LinkedIn post of yours. And I'm just going to read it aloud really quick. Quote, in the last 3 months, while looking for my next marketing role, I've been fine-tuning my usage of AI marketing, specifically content marketing and social media. I've collaborated with some bright minds to the point where I think I've been able to automate the vast majority of the work. To test this theory, I am looking for a couple of early stage companies to trust me with their SEO efforts, blah, 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 blah. Now,
you skipped the sales pitch part, yeah.
The sales pitch is the show, Matt. The sales pitch is the show. All right. Now, if any of our audience members would like to collaborate with him, Matt, are you still taking takers, aren't you?
We are, yeah. So it's so far we've had a couple start from that post, and oddly enough, because it was posted from Skail, I got to see everyone that clicked. There's a couple more that I'm following up with.
So I didn't have a company for you to like collaborate with for all these juicy AI automation strategies. So instead, I thought I would just invite you here and learn all of your secrets instead. So are you willing to share your secrets? Is that okay?
I would love to, yeah. And then just here for the great conversation as well.
I would love to hear more about what you're building at Skail, how it can help automate content and social media content for brands. So like, what's going on? What's happening at Skail? You even got the t-shirt, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, being a founder, I need to kind of like show that brand off.
It is a requirement to have merch.
Yeah. I do have extras. I'll send them your way. But one of the areas that I definitely saw in the B2B space is, number one, content was taking up a lot of time for people to create. And two, that people were trying to promote their own brand. And I really saw like a big misalignment in the market. So what I'm actually trying to do is bring the employees of an organization on the forefront instead of being a brand. So, in FinMarket, when I worked there in my last role, I started to realize that when I was making a post that had the exact same topic as the actual company, my personal brand was actually getting the same amount of impressions, same amount of engagement. And so it drives more credibility. So what we actually are trying to do is flip the script on marketing where, instead of employees empowering the brand, the power of the brand comes from the employees themselves. So you create content from your employees that's mimicked by AI. They distribute it via email, and that ties to HubSpot, it ties to Gmail, ties into Outlook to make those happen at a one-to-one level, and then does a full analytics as well as social sharing. So it's how you can kind of push out your brand while keeping your employees' authentic voice.
And I know this pain point very well. My last role, full-time role at Datavolo, we had an entire team of incredibly talented engineers who had worked for some fantastic organizations. They were the original creators of Apache NiFi, which very specific data nerds will know exactly what that is and be like, You worked for those guys, a very specific niche population of the universe. But a lot of these engineers, are not necessarily people who feel super comfortable posting on LinkedIn or on Twitter. Some of them did, and some of them did a really great job. Like our CTO, Sam Lochterman, I think was really good at it. But, and our CEO, of course, Joe Witt. But a lot of our team members really struggled with putting themselves out there. They felt uncomfortable about it. They felt a little bit icky about it. But because our team members had this legacy of being, the founders of a very niche data flow pipeline. They had an audience. They weren't putting themselves out there, but when they did, they got so many more views than if just the company posted, right? And so
100%.
I ended up making this whole playbook trying to teach everybody how to post on LinkedIn. And, I would get messages from the different engineers being like, is this an okay post? Is this how I can do it? Instead of, again, what you're saying is helping team members who maybe aren't super comfortable at writing or communicating what they want to communicate, making sure it doesn't sound cheesy, but also most importantly, making sure it sounds like them, right?
Exactly. 100%. And that's what drives the credibility. And I think you speak volumes to everything else in the market. We did a survey and it's 80% of people on LinkedIn don't post because they don't know what to write about, or they just don't like the time it takes to write. So That's the biggest pain you're seeing, but you're so much more credible when like a CTO is talking to a technical crowd. Like if a marketer is talking to a technical crowd, everyone's just like, okay, this guy's trying to sell me something. And to be honest, I hate to say it, but I totally am. Yeah. You're not wrong. Yeah.
I think my podcast, like I'm trying to sell something. I'm not sure what. Actually, maybe it's one of our sponsors, which I believe right now is getting hitched with Shabazz, which is a wonderful thing. Thanks, Shabazz.
Looking for some human-generated experiences for the most important moment of your life? Need someone, not something, to officiate your wedding? Check out Getting Hitched with Shabazz. Eloping, civil union, 3 years away? No problem. Shabazz is here to help. Getting Hitched with Shabazz, your love story with 100% fewer hallucinations. Link in the description down below.
Moving away from Skail, what are other AI marketing strategies you think are critical for other marketers to be aware of or simply to test out, right? Is there anything else that you're personally automating other than, messaging and things like that? When it comes to this AI world, like what are you doing or what are you hoping to do with a larger scale brand sometime soon?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to automate everything that seems redundant in my job. And like, that's where, sorry, you can go back to the Scale a little bit, but some of those areas seem to like the ones that are the easiest for anyone to take over. Like number one, content marketing has become very, very easy to automate and create. Especially if you have the right prompt and you just, know your SEO just a little bit. So it's very easy to get out there and create a bunch. Like sadly, and I'm sure we're going to get to this later, is just that you wouldn't be the only one. It's just, there's so many people now doing that. And I think that's where AI is right now. It's like you have the framework of SEO and SEM, and all of these things are actually pretty easy to automate in AI, but also at the same problem you have everyone else doing it. Like ChatGPT, you can do a lot of articles, you can write great social media posts, but sadly everyone else is also doing that. So when it comes to, unique things that I'm doing is a lot of research. Notebook LLM is like my favorite friend. And it's like, just because like I've pivoted twice. So I've had to learn 2 new industries with Scale. So it's like, do a little research on Notebook LLM and take my dog for a walk. And like, that is the best thing to just listen to a podcast and learn full industries or competitive analysis and everything.
Yeah. I still haven't really dived, but I still haven't explored Notebook LM yet. But I do think the podcast, I kind of was avoiding the podcast tool because I knew it was the same 2 voices and I thought I was going to get really annoyed at them. But now they have new voices, don't they?
Oh, if so, then I haven't been able to, I haven't tried to go change them. But like,
pretty sure they have new voices now.
For me, it just seems like the same 2 people are just like the smartest people about everything.
Just the smartest people in the world.
And they're with the same kind of humor every single time. You're like, oh, I know when he's going to inject here. And he's like, oh my gosh, this is a fun fact. And you're like, yeah.
I know you're going to make this kind of a joke. And it's just like, oh my gosh, come on, guys. earlier you were talking about how we're running into everything basically sounding the same. All the content marketers are doing the same thing. And like, even if you are using a tool like Skail, I mean, with a tool like Skail, you're able to sound more like yourself, which I think is a really big improvement versus just sounding exactly like ChatGPT, which I think at this point we all kind of know ChatGPT's voice, even if it's like ChatGPT 4.0 versus ChatGPT 5. Those are two different personalities.
They are.
So, right? Like, how are you making sure that like you stand out in that kind of a market, right? Like how do you compete if everybody else is automating these entire processes?
Well, I think it's kind of changed drastically like over the last like year or so. Because when I first created Skail, it was actually because I was at Ascend, and I sadly my SDR that was on my team got let go. So like we in return were like, okay, now the marketers need to become the SDR. So we like the original thing was just Zapier and ChatGPT. I think it was like 3 at that point, and like created this voice and did like all that prospecting. And we thought we were just like on the cusp. And I think that's where a lot of people are still kind of doing this transition of, number one, you have everyone that's taking the current marketing world and then trying to automate it. So like content marketing and blogs. But what's kind of ironic in that aspect is like SEO is slowly dying too. So like we are automating the thing that is like slowly dying. And now it's kind of like, okay, now we're going to redo all of our blogs and our content to now be AEO, which AEO is very similar to SEO, except you add like an FAQs to it.
AEO, for those of you guys who are not in the know, is making sure that your brand or yourself or anything else that's on the internet is findable on platforms like ChatGPT, Gemini, NotebookLM, or Claude or something like that.
And oddly enough, like those SEO tactics, which are the more manual ones that I'm still trying to automate, is like getting backlinks and stuff like that, actually still have been proven to help on AEO. And those are the manual tasks, like reaching out and trying to get those. But outside of that, I think what's really been drawing my time is using either agentic AI or like even just platforms like N8N or Zapier to basically tie together and try to create my own workflows. And that's what's I think the future of AI is. We've got past that phase of trying to build and automate what our old marketing systems look like, and instead we're trying to be like, okay, this is what makes my company unique, or this is what makes me a unique marketer. Now, how do I build something that's specific to myself?
Right.
And that's always a tough one for me. Like it's a lot of like using platforms that like very unique ways. Like I typically do reach out to B2B SaaS companies, and because of that, I use like a lot of backlink upload tools to like see what kind of like data they're using, or like scanning their site to understand like what kind of platforms and what they built with, and then bring that all into communications and then prospecting back out to them. So it's like that would not be applicable to the vast majority of marketers out there, but they can build something very similar, but for their target market.
Okay, so you have one workflow that basically is how you like to prospect it. I really like how you're phrasing this. It's not implementing the same strategy for everybody. It's like what makes you as an individual unique? Like what are the things that you're doing as a person, and then figuring out how can I get everything organized quickly so that I don't have to go and click on every single website, right? And just have it all in one place.
Which oddly enough, right before this call, you were talking about how like you built something specific because you wanted it for that event.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's where AI is. Like before it was like, how do you abuse AI to do the things that, like everyone's doing? Now it's like, how are we using AI to do the things that are specific to like our use cases? And that's it's all about for like marketing is like, if everyone's doing the exact same thing, how do you do something different? And then obviously not lose yourself, which right now is like my strong belief that, with all these generic messages going out, the things that are going to make you a better person in the market are going to be more you, just because everything else is kind of being diluted.
So what are the other types of workflows that you have played with? So we talked about collecting information for like all of your prospects, and then using that for the outbound messaging, and also just making sure that you are prepared for those calls, right? What are other workflows that you've been playing around with, or ones that you've heard other people using that you thought were really cool?
Right now, I am on the cusp of trying to find some really good video stuff, because in social media, like video is still kind of king. And even oddly enough, LinkedIn is really trying to go after that. It's like they're trying to compete with like Facebook and TikTok, but like a professional setting. But that's like one of the very, very hard ways of automating it without it looking, 100% like you're just a robot. So that's an area I'm going for, as well as training. I think training it's one of the biggest areas. And it's, whether you're using a reg off the bat, which is a very simple one, or, for me, when you start doing content and you start writing, and it never sounds like you on like a prompt. And I've given up on thinking a prompt can go that far. So it's like now looking into ways that you can train, and then that applying to a bunch of different other areas as well.
I mean, so you've given up on trying to get anything that actually sounds like you, basically.
It can get close, but you're like, yeah. Otherwise, and I think that's where I'll get into a lot of arguments with like prompt engineers. They're like, you just need to adjust the prompt. And I'm like, I've adjusted thousands of prompts, and it never gets to a point where I'm like, yep, this is exactly it.
Yeah. I've tried building some custom GPTs and trying to get things to sound like me, and it really definitely struggles with it.
Nobody can sound like you, though. Yeah.
I know. I'm so much. And also I'm very inconsistent. And so like, I do have like some jokes that I make like on the regular, like just really dumb dad puns. I'm very much an expert in dad puns, right? But every once in a while, I'll make a joke that's just like so off the wall that people just like really don't expect it. Like, oh my gosh, I made a Theranos joke while getting my blood drawn the other day.
Oh, that go well? Did they just need a drop or more?
No, it was, they were doing a blood draw, and I was like, whenever I go to the doctor, I tend to get like a little bit stressed out, as we all do. And so most people, react and they like get quiet or they clam up. No, I just start basically doing like my own personal stand-up show for whoever's drawing my blood or whoever the doctor is. And if like they don't laugh, I kind of judge them a little bit. I'm like, why aren't you laughing? I'm putting on a world-class show for you. So literally, I'm getting my blood drawn by this girl, and I don't remember exactly what the joke was, but I made like 3 slam junks in a row, and the last one was an Elizabeth Holmes reference, which I figured she would know because like the techies know that, but like sometimes non-techies don't. But like she's literally drawn my blood, and like so I was like, she has to know who Elizabeth Holmes is, and so I made some sort of reference to Elizabeth Holmes, and she goes, "Wow, you're really funny. Have you considered being a comedian?"
Wow. I mean, that's fantastic. Like, you got that.
Twist.
Yeah.
Plot twist.
Been there, done that.
Retired, dude.
Yeah.
People be like, "Oh, don't you want to be a comedian still?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, I retired." And like, I like handed in my comedy license, and they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm legally not allowed to tell jokes anymore." And they're like, "You're not?" And people get so concerned.
I love the gullible ones that can actually fall for that.
I'm just like messing with everyone 24/7.
That is fantastic.
But the reason why I'm asking this is because like I have tried to, get these LLMs to write like me, and I haven't leaned that much into the comedy because it just doesn't get comedy at all. Doesn't have a clue. And, but my buddy Michael Rulfo he took I gave him my comedy scripts, and he made a Carolyn comedy bot.
Oh my gosh. Is it, okay. Is that going to be shared with this podcast release? Because I think it definitely should.
No, it's not public, so I can't but you can see recordings of it. So on one of my older podcast episodes, you can see Carolyn comedy bot in action. Like Michael and I did like a read through.
That's awesome.
And it was funny because it was like referring to all of my jokes from my previous scripts. And it did nail a few things that I would definitely nail, which I was very happy about. Like, there's a character on Baywatch who is Carolyn Holden.
How did I not? Well, number one, I was about to say like, how did I know this? But I'm like, I've never watched Baywatch, so I guess that's the reason why.
His name is Yasmin, played by Yasmin Leith. His name is Carolyn Holden, and so I like prompted it to like, hey, can you make a comedy sketch about Carolyn Holden from Baywatch and Carolyn Holden from real life, like interacting what they would do. And I was really hoping that it would make sure that Baywatch Carolyn would like run in slow motion multiple times. And it did. And I was like, thank you for getting the basics down. My God. But the thing that's funny with that Carolyn bot is it sounds like me when I was 26, when I was a professional comedian. It doesn't sound like me now. And I think I'm much funnier now.
Well, now we need to make a new bot and like have those bots talk to each other. So
I know, but I don't have as many comedy scripts. I don't have like, I'm going to like need to record myself all the time. I'm going to like need to grab my microphone over here and just be like, hi, these are every single joke that I make every single day, all the time.
Well, I mean, you do have this podcast that you can transcribe and then like base it on that. So
I don't like make that many jokes on here. So it's like somebody needs to follow me to a happy hour because that's honestly where I do my most work.
Okay. So I can be hired for that.
Carry my microphone around and just be like, Carolyn, can you say that again? Can you repeat that?
Make the pitch a little bit better. Yeah.
All right. So you're not trying to personalize things that much.
Not yet. Like I haven't given up on it. Like there's certain things that I've always heard in like starting a startup. It's like, number one, build something that's not scalable and try to find a way to scale it.
Right.
Obviously then if you can find that, people will want to buy it. It's number two. It's like, if something's too hard to do, don't stop pursuing it. Like,
yeah.
So I would say giving up on thinking prompt engineering can do what I want it to do. Whether or not I actually want to stop the idea of the original idea of creating a digital clone, not going to give up. I just think that I'm going to have a different technology provider or like a different way of getting there. So yeah. As of now, I think I do pretty well of getting the users to speak like them, and they'll have to edit it, but that's as expected right now. And then hopefully in the future, we have some better. Also, that's kind of scary too if someone speaks exactly like you. So
yeah, I think it's a little too much Black Mirror. Like you kind of need, need it to be like that's close enough.
Yeah, it's just got to be somewhat close. And like when you make changes, like you said, you have certain phrases that you do all the time. When you have a prompt doing that, it's very tough unless you constantly are training it, and that's the area we need to all kind of work on.
So if you were to outline your 3 top AI marketing strategies, it sounds like it's AI marketing workflows, like you talked about before. Yeah. Okay. Would AEO be next, or would Skail be next, or would Skail be number 1?
I would do like Skail almost number 1, just because the fact that going back into the thesis of like you need to be more human, and I think that's one of the biggest things. That and putting my for the last 2 years been trying to be a founder. Like it is really tough to kind of get things moving and kind of creating that network that even if it's not your employees, it's an employee advocacy program, but they don't have to be employees. They can be friends and family. And like my personal network is like the one that helps me. Like you, when you reposted my LinkedIn, like then people started coming in. Like those little things can just be such a huge lift. So that's probably one of them. Then the workflows, and then content generation, SEO, and AEO kind of bucketed into everything else. I mean, it's the joys of it. AI right now, like everyone can be a marketer, sadly.
Yeah, absolutely. So for any marketers or founders, because I know we have a lot of startup founders who listen to the show, what are the most underrated ways that you think AI can give people an edge?
Definitely, for the time being, getting out there and like doing content creation, like and like social. And this is not even me selling Skail. I mean, it helps to like have like your network of like people that will help you, but your personal brand, I think a lot of people like undervalue that. They always think that like, they're going to market and they go to your own brand and then you create this and you put all your time and investment there. But at founding a company, that initial brand doesn't have any power. And it's like, how do you empower yours? And like simple chatbots of like, okay, maybe if I write something, then it distributes automatically to like all my friends and family to say like, please like this and post it. Or, some kind of way of using AI to really reduce those custom workflows of, making your network aware of what you're doing. And that's always tough. And those little wins are also, as a founder, like so huge. It's like, oh, someone liked my post. It's like a little pat in the back of I'm not feeling that bad. That and emails and stuff like that. But once again, talking back into spam, it's just be careful with them. Everything can be bad in overproduction.
And that's the thing too, is it's not only that you are making too much content, it's that everybody is.
Yes.
Right? Like, I mean, my email inbox is just nuts. And I have been getting all the ads for Fixer AI. I don't know that I want that in my personal inbox because I think my personal inbox does have too much private data in there. I don't want it going through all of my personal inbox, which I've had for like over a decade or whatever. Right. But I do see how like a tool like that could be really useful for identifying, identifying what emails are important that I need to get back to immediately and identifying this is just spam.
100%. And oh my gosh, there's so much spam, especially LinkedIn. LinkedIn is crazy now.
I still don't get that many messages on LinkedIn. I mean, I get tagged in everything by all my friends. But I think most brands realize I don't have a ton of cash. So
hopefully they should learn that now. But like, I have the title of founder, which basically means that I'm poor. And people are like, let me see if you have some cash for like how to do these things. Oh, but
like, do you want to spend $20,000 on this product? I'm like, no.
If I had that money, then maybe I could consider it. Yeah. What's really unique too, so when it comes into a tool, I use it really early on Reachy.io is actually a pretty great tool for LinkedIn for growing networks. So like for founders,
Reachy?
Yeah, REACHY.io.
Okay.
And it's like an AI tool that's like agentic for LinkedIn. But for those that are like don't have a good LinkedIn network, it does a lot of the automated prospecting. So like you can give it a search list and then it like does the agentic like go and connect with them and then also write notes if you want.
Right.
I've had like LinkedIn Navigator and stuff like that are like one-off but not automated. And for some reason, Reachy has like a way better conversion rate. Like anyone that I gave, it would like do like 50 invites a day and it came back like 40-50% of connect rate. So whatever it's doing well, but I'd recommend that for those founders that really need to get their personal network bigger.
See, I don't know that I would use that because I'm already just on LinkedIn all the time, and I am officially at the point where I have enough connections I can't remember everybody.
Yeah,
and so like
I know exactly how you are because like I've had multiple friends reach out to me and they're like, "I see you're connected to this person. Can you do an intro?" And I'm like, I can, but it's also gonna be an intro for myself. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure how I met this person or even if I ever did meet this person. But I'll send a note recommending you. But then also introducing myself for the first time. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Actually, you know what's really funny? Because I think Ernest was the CEO of Credit Key, right? Or was he a different startup? I can't remember.
I think it was a different startup.
Ernest? Okay, dang. Anyways, I mixed up. I was trying to introduce a friend to Frank Yelsuki. I don't know how to pronounce his last name from Medical Alley. And instead, I didn't actually send the invite. I just like sent the name over. I was like, oh, it's this person. It's because their faces look really similar. And in my head, I'm like, oh, Frank is Ernest. And it's like, oh no, that's not.
Yeah. Oh.
Anyways, I thought that was your CEO. Anyways.
No. Oh gosh. And then
it's a different Loeb founder.
And when they ask like how you do it, then like or how you know them, and then you like look at them, you look in the messages, and you're like, okay, there's no messages. Then you search your email, and you're like, there's no emails. Like,
you know what I do? I just look at their history, and I look at the like mutual connections, because then I can usually piece together, oh, this is a New York person, or oh, this is this person, or oh, like, but that's how I do it.
This might be the next AI tool. Is like just how do I know you?
Honestly, I maybe need a tool to, I mean, I guess this is like what LinkedIn is, but like, I need to like categorize all the people who I know and all their contact info and be like, okay, who are people who I invite to these like startup events? Who are people do I invite to my personal parties? Because I keep forgetting to invite people.
Oh my gosh.
I feel horrible all the time.
I think that'd be pretty easy to do. I do that same thing though too.
I know. I need like a CRM for my life.
Yeah. I just had a housewarming and like, I'm like, oh, my fantasy football group. That's like basically everyone I know. And then like, of course I miss people.
Every once in a while I will like talk to somebody like the day after I like host an event. And I'm like, oh no, I should have invited you to a party. And I'm like, oh, I hope they don't find out. And then sometimes they do. And then I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. Then hopefully they just like know that like, it's just, it was a lapse of judgment or like just
this is called when I'm sitting and thinking, who am I inviting to a party? I just immediately forget. Immediately forget. And part of that is because the samefication of marketing and all of these like copied, like everybody sounds the same, right? And you mentioned earlier how this has been affecting like job hunting too and building your personal brand.
A lot of people have been kind of worried about this the same one, especially the job market.
Because the thing is, like, not only is it like every single content creator sounds the same, and like every sales pitch sounds the same, but now it's, for the last decade, job applicants have been encouraged to put themselves into itty bitty little boxes, and curating their resume for every application to match the job description. You know, we got to beat that ATS system, whatever, and have like the most logical career ever, which of course, do I have that? No, I do not. But now what's happening is because we're able to use different AI tools to make sure that your resume matches the job description perfectly so you can get past these ATS systems. We literally have resumes where everybody looks the same, and also you can't tell if someone is actually legitimately qualified.
It's so terrifying. And like, see, like we're on the side of like the applicants, but like, think of how also terrifying that is for like the actual recruiters. Like,
listen, you should see the podcast episode a couple weeks ago that we did with Paul DeBettings, whose name I finally got down, and Adam Johnson, because that one was a roller coaster. They were talking about like, what was it like from a hiring perspective? And then I was just like, hello, as someone who has applied for jobs before.
Yeah. I mean, it's like AI has ruined both sides, I think. Like,
oh yeah, easily. And so like, how can people make themselves stand out? Like if everybody else is using AI to like make sure that they're picture perfect, like how do you make sure that you look like somebody that somebody actually wants to hire, like authentically, and actually like, you know, be truthful about it, like not just like making things up or having LLMs hallucinate on your behalf.
Which oddly enough, so I have had a resume that guy created, and it had like, it changed the date somehow. I don't know how it hallucinated on my dates, but I'm like, oh, that's not something I wanted to have. But on a different story on that one, it's also like, it's not about numbers. And I always say that about marketing too. Like, yes, you can spam a bunch, which we're going to go between marketing and this, but like one time at a company you said like Credit Key, like we compared what SDRs were sending out, and then like I would do these little campaigns, and they were like industry specific, they were technology specific, and like my open rates were like triple and reply rates triple. And so like you don't always need to send out a bunch in order to get those results. It's always like, okay, what kind of personalization can we do? And the same thing kind of goes when you're applying for jobs. It's like the easy apply button. Like, yes, it's nice, but like also if you don't align with that job, they're going to like understand that in your first interview. Like it's not about getting an interview. It's about getting a job. And I think even that goes in the marketing aspect. Like you're not trying to get a lead, you're trying to get a customer. So it's like, stop trying to apply to everything. Because right now, as you said, everyone's resume can now be edited in AI very easily. Now recruiters have no idea who's actually who. So now like, who do you stand out? And in that process, like I've definitely understood that, you know, you find those jobs that you like, are like, this is amazing, I'm a great fit for. And then like I've had friends that just do apply and they change the resume and hope for the best. Like I will never allow for that to happen. Like this is my background, as he says, in fintech and like B2B SaaS. I'll immediately look up in Apollo, in LinkedIn Navigator. I am like diving in, like who is the hiring manager? Who is the person that's probably gonna make this decision? And like either that or like, are they an alumni of St. Thomas or Drake? And like, I'm trying to make those connections and immediately do like a write out. And, you know, usually that gets a lot more of like a feedback, especially if you hit the hiring manager, because then they'll do like a little recommendation and you're almost guaranteed that first interview. So, but yeah, trusting that the process is going to work. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at as well. Like I'm not technically job hunting at the moment. I'm doing my own thing. We're having a ball over here, but I've done a tremendous amount of job hunting in my day. I've almost been job hunting every year of my career.
It's the startup world, isn't it?
It's the startup world.
Yep.
Just like the startup world moves so fast. Then I've had like some long-term freelancing stints and stuff. And like, anyways, doesn't matter. We don't have to get into the nitty-gritty details of me and all that jazz. But it's interesting for me because for years, ATS systems were like, you're too strange. We can't possibly talk to you. And so I've just been auto-rejected for years at this point, which is what's happening to people all the time now, instead of, just to a select few weirdos in the past. And so my strategy has been entirely what you said is how do we, like, the parts that I'm trying to figure out how to automate, or that I would recommend people automate is how do you find the best possible roles or the best possible companies, right? So identifying, since I'm in the startup space, what startups have recently gotten funding, a substantial amount of funding. Has there been a press release about them recently, right?
Are you doing proactive, like even before they have a posting?
Yeah, duh.
Oh wow, you're taking things to a whole new level at this point. Like,
bro, I'm an expert. Do you realize how much I've job hunted? So, I mean, I haven't done this. I haven't done this yet. This is the type of thing that I would do manually, right? Yeah. And I haven't automated this recently, but that would be the step, right? Is figure out how do you automate, I don't know, updates from Crunchbase or maybe a specific thing about either specific startups or types of startups that you're interested in, figure out who's getting funding, and then figuring out, do I have any connections with them? Am I really interested in their product? Do I have something special right there? And then using that to reach out to the people directly before they start having roles. And the reality is, by the time they're making that PR release, they typically already have roles in the pipeline. They maybe have already started interviewing people. So you're actually kind of coming in there a little bit late. But if you can at least get into that sweet spot, like that tends to be a really good move. And that's the same thing. You can do the same thing in big corporate where, let's say, I don't know, I'm just going to use Project Stargate as an example. They're building all these data centers and these people are now going to do this. Like, what are news headlines that you can do to figure out what are the companies that are doing well, and utilize that to find opportunities that way. And then reach out to people at, like, my goal is always how I want to reach out to a lot of people, not a lot of roles. I honestly don't fill out job applications. I'm looking for individuals who have impact, and try to find companies who have momentum through any form of like public outreach. Right.
That's awesome. I mean, that's such a huge but lengthy process. I was like kind of thinking like AI, how do you even like automate that process? Like,
yeah.
I mean,
TechCrunch, baby. Just
alerts I was saying, do a Crunchbase, and then you'd have to like, I don't know, you do lists, but you really want to do one-on-one, right? Like the one-to-one communication is really what syncs it, which is like one of the weaknesses of AI, which goes back to like our cases, like AI, if you get an email that's like obviously is clearly AI, like it doesn't do anything. So like at that point, that's one of those areas where you stand out, but in this discussion we've had, it's the ways you stand out is almost the lack of AI. It's like automate the process, but don't automate like the actual like
like automate the back end.
Yeah.
And then have your front end. So for people who are not software engineers, back end is like how everything works behind the scenes on a website, and front end is like the part you see and interact with.
Which, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I'll write things and then I'll have AI like, you know, make it sound better, and then I'll do the edits, which, I mean, even still, like to the Skail aspect, like we have our email function where you send to a list and you can send it automatically, but like I don't trust AI well enough to like just send those blindly. Like, so like
I know, I don't either. And I'm such a writer too that I just get like too particular about it, right? Like I want everything to be perfectly crafted. And so what I've been doing lately is I will write out some notes. If I'm having a bad day, which isn't often, but if I'm having a bad day, I ask ChatGPT to like make a draft or an outline for me. And then I write out like as much of it as I can. And then I ask AI to like double check it or make sure there's nothing like too grammatically, whatever. It doesn't pick on like weird writing habits that I have. I need my husband for that, who's like, why is the single sentence a paragraph? And I'm like, because it makes it easy to read. And he's like, yeah, this is dumb. And I'm like, sorry. So chat doesn't do that. I need my husband.
But okay, that helps readability in SEO. So it all works.
But that's what I mean. So like, it helps readability. And so not just for SEO, but like also just like on social media, right? Yeah. Of like, we're just going to have every sentence as a paragraph.
Which, I mean, it still just goes to like, you can go back to like in the marketing front where it's, okay, I'm in the strong belief that like answers, like the way you find answers are just going to be changing. As I said earlier, like we're automating the things that are like SEO that people no longer use unless it's like the actual main website. So you create blogs just to like get ranked, and that's why like I think you're seeing such a decrease in humanity in blog creation, because people are no longer actually trying to create good content. They're just trying to rank. Like they're just trying to show up for search, and that's why we're just constantly producing. I hate to say it because I might even be responsible a little bit of just like bad content, just because we want like us to be found for a keyword rather than actual like thought leadership.
Well, it's tricky too in like a marketing role because, good content, really excellent content takes time.
But then
right?
Are people going to find it? And if so, then so much.
Yeah, but if you're not posting regularly, it messes up the algorithm. And if you're also not posting regularly, your boss is like, what are you doing?
Yep.
And so you're sitting there being like, okay, well, I can, do the reps and just make things quickly and hope that a few of them are good. But I also don't want to piss off my entire audience. And so it's just such a weird game to play, man, especially like TikTok coming onto the scene, I think really just made it work.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of things compiling right now to make it worse.
All right. So Matt, if we're talking about figuring out how to do these automations, right? Like you talked about having these different automations for workflows or for making content or all these things. Like what are the mistakes that people are making? And like how do you approach this?
For the most part, like a lot of people are immediately just going into ChatGPT and trying to create something off the bat. And I think there's more steps to that because if you do like a brainstorming, you don't immediately just come up with an idea and then start building. It's like, okay, what does this workflow look like? And that's one of the biggest issues. Like you do a prompt and you're like, oh, it can't successfully do this. And then you get upset. How I've typically done it is using like Lucidchart or like an actual flow chart and actually mapping out what I'm trying to build. And at least by that in your head, also, I'm a person that typically just does like very, very loose commands. And I learned this the hard way when I was talking to my CTO. And I'm like, build this. And then he like built something and I'm like, you did build what I asked you for, but like I wanted it. So like, so I started building.
You know what I do? This is how I build loosey goosey. I say, hey chat, like, can you help me come up with a prompt for this? This is my loosey goosey prompt. Can you make it better? And it's just like, yep, here you go. I'm like, great, thanks. And then I like start over and I'm like, here's my prompt.
And I mean, like for some prompts that works fine, but like, yeah, for like the other stuff, you're like, okay. But when I map it out, then you like understand like, is this a ChatGPT? Is this a single prompt? Is this something I need to bring like Zapier in? Like, and then you start actually making it better. And that's where I've really gotten good at. It's like building out, mapping it first, and then understanding which ones like are actual prompts, and then where it needs to be sent. So at that point, that's what's really helped me on the Skail side of going from email. Like, what does it need to be? What parts of the product need to be talking to each other, or like when it comes into the content that we just started creating and doing that of like, what are the QA portions of this, and what questions does it need to ask? Otherwise, you could write right away, like create a blog about this that's SEO optimized, and it will do that. But it's just not as good as like taking in considerations your tone, certain parts of maybe your career or your experience that you want to weave in. And that's really where it makes the content a little bit better. It's just like those extra little steps. And if you're just going straight prompt style, it's just, you're going to overlook a lot of it.
So the tools that you're using for these automations, you mentioned Lucidchart. You mentioned Zapier. Are those the only two tools, or are you using other ones as well?
A bunch of different LLMs. I'm using Integration App, which is like basically a third-party tie-in to like go into LinkedIn and all of those, which is helpful. I'm trying to think of the other ones, and of course, this the generic platforms, but those are a little less AI associated.
Yeah, for sure.
Like HubSpot, I'm always going to say like everyone should get it.
Everyone should do HubSpot.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm friends with some of the Agent AI team members who are also like tied to HubSpot. So we're big HubSpot fans over here.
Oh, yeah. My dog used to have a HubSpot collar and he used to wear it every day. But yeah, sadly, ever since my wife and I got married, he's been now more designer than HubSpot.
He's too fancy. He's not a tech bro anymore.
Yeah. Now he's a mama's boy. Yeah.
Is he a labradoodle too? Like.
Oh no, he is not. Usually he's coming.
Okay, so you haven't fully dived into the golden doodle world.
I have not. He's a golden, but yeah, doesn't have the doodle.
And so when you're building these automations, these are typically are these typically click and drag things, or some of these like engineering things? I'm thinking like a lot of our audience so our focus on this show is creativity, AI, and the future of work. So we have a lot of marketers, obviously, but we also have people who are maybe trying to break into tech for the very first time. So like if you were to describe what it's like to build these types of automations, like what is it like? How hard is it? How easy is it? And if someone just wants to get started, what should they try to do?
I think it's pretty easy on the base level. So like there's obviously a wide variety of, how complex it can get. Number one, ChatGPT, if you haven't made like your own GPT, it's pretty amazing, but make sure you're telling it in steps. And then like you can actually like alter the steps of like each individual one. So like that's a simple like prompt. Otherwise, like copy AI, which I haven't mentioned yet, is like been pretty good of more of like a workflow scenario. But then that's getting very, very close to like the Zapier and the n8ns and things like that then get more agentic, which that's when you're really having a lot of fun, is when you get the actual, in my opinion, of like getting things to contact each other. So like even with our integration and Skail, like HubSpot, it's like you integrate it and you grab, which contact records you want. So like when you're actually doing those outreaches, you're making something a little bit more custom, and it like weaves in to that prompt, which also adds so much more complexity, because like you're just randomly bringing in a field and you're expecting AI to just randomly pick up on what that field is and then understand it. So with a lot of building, there comes a lot of failures. It's really the end result, but hopefully a lot of successes too.
Well, it's not like they're permanent failures. It's more like, oh, this didn't work. Let me keep working on it. Right. Yeah. Like so much of building these types of systems, it's just like you're figuring it out, and then it works. It's not like, I have completely failed. I will never live to see another day. I cannot do another automation. You might want to abandon a project and start over now that you've gotten a better idea of how it works. But it's not like the end of the world if you're the first time you do an automation, it doesn't work.
Which I mean,
that's kind of should be the expectation. It's not going to work.
I think that is actually probably a good sign of like, are you onto something good? Like we talked about it earlier, where it's like if you are building something and it's not working right away, or it's tough, then like you're on to something, because if it's easy, then everyone's doing it. And that applies to like your process and that you're doing for like, or we're doing for hiring. It's like that's a very, very manual process. It'd be great to automate that. But then also on the marketing side, if you can find something that you cannot build, that means that like you may have found a channel or something that you're doing that no one else is doing, or very few, and that's how you stand out. So it's like those are the process. Find something you can't scale or it's hard to build, and then try to go build that. And then when you do, contact me, because I want to play with it.
All right, Matt, we are running out of time. So I only have one last question for you, which is, what's the biggest mistake that you're seeing people making trying to differentiate online with AI tools, or just like in general? Like, what are the mistakes people are making as they're trying in the marketing space, maybe sales too, in trying to explore like utilizing these tools, and what could they be doing differently?
Yeah, I think all of it just goes into what you're trying to accomplish. And I think you immediately go into AI and seeing the power it has to automate, and you're not really thinking about the end goal. So like when we first started creating like marketing, we originally thought, or our sales outreach, we just put something in a prompt and had to write. It was writing trash, and we sent it off. Like not a great way of doing AI. Like, but to be honest, our SDRs were sending trash too, so that's why we did it. But like, I think the biggest thing here is not just trying to automate something, but instead trying to improve the processes. Like, just like your job, look for high quality here before you start sending it out. Otherwise, we're going to get ourselves into the predicaments we talked about earlier in the call, where it's just things are getting oversaturated, or like job markets are just getting a little bit more chaotic on both sides. So putting quality out there.
Absolutely. Well, Matt, thank you so much for coming on our show today. Before you go, could you actually let us know what's next for you and for Skail? Like, what should we be keeping an eye out for?
What we're going to be constantly doing is getting better at understanding our users and acting more like them. Also looking into those automations that make us more human. So whether that might be adding in digital mail, which is something we're considering, as well as really training on each individual user. So if you want to reach out, this is how you spell Skail. It's a little bit different, and then it's a scale.ai and reach out to me at matt@skail.ai too.
Yeah, absolutely. And they can also find you on LinkedIn too if they want to follow you there.
Yep. I think I'm Matthew Osborne. I'm fancy
you are Matthew
LinkedIn.
Osborne.
Yeah. I like to be a little more fancier on LinkedIn.
Listen, it's very important to be very fancy. That's why I made a post last week featuring my cowboy boots.
Oh, see, like I'm in like an actual nice shirt, like doing this, and it's AI generated. So if like you click on the picture, you'll totally know. But
I know. Meanwhile, I'm just like making posts with my cowboy boots, just being like, "Hey guys, look at this funny note my mom sent me."
Well, did it get engagement? Because maybe I should be.
It did. It got a lot of engagement.
Okay, I'm gonna go buy some cowboy boots. Where do you get these?
Yeah. Well, it's become this joke that I know that I have a good email newsletter of the week if I get a note from my mom insisting that it's a really good newsletter. And so she texted me and she was like, "Today's was a very good newsletter." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." Because every time mom says it's a good newsletter, it does get more views than everybody else. And so
that's amazing.
So she seems to be the barometer of whether my content is.
Well, then are you sending to her before you send it off?
No,
I mean, I think that's what you gotta do. If mom says it's not good, don't send.
Most of the time she doesn't like my articles and she calls me and gives critiques. So it's either I get a compliment or it's like, you did a terrible job. But then last week she was like, "Oh, it was a great newsletter." And then she showed up at my house and she's like, "Here, you should have my old cowboy boots. You can wear these in a work context." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic.
And so I took a photo of them. I posted on LinkedIn. I was like, hey guys, mom said I have a good newsletter, but mom also says I can wear these to work. What do you think?
Okay, so I think if you're going to have really good newsletters, you need to have a bot for your mom as well as the new you kind of bot. I think these two are the things you need.
Right.
And from there on out, you can automate your newsletters and then make them
we need the momometer of
the momometer.
Oh, is this article good enough for mom?
And is it successful with other newsletters? Or is it just yours?
Is it just mine? Oh my gosh. Well, thank you, Matt, for coming on this extremely silly show.
I love it.
And thank you everybody else for watching. If you liked this show, please make sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch on YouTube or listen to the show on any platform where podcasts are available. My name is Carolyn Swift Holden. I am an AI marketing strategist, consultant, conglomerate, previous comedian, and apparently really bad at getting jobs, but with some really good strategies and theory. So we're so excited to have you guys here. We hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day. Thanks so much again, Matt, and bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Your wedding won't be deepfake, and neither will the man making it official. Reverend Shabazz. Get an officiant as real and dedicated to your wedding goals as you. Getting hitched with Shabazz, because he can tell everyone the wedding's real. Link in the description down below.